In this video, we're going to cover the data that your MyVisitorLog application captures via your visitor or staff's smartphone. There are three buttons which we're going to address. So there is the visitor log, which is your full history of visitors. There's the who's on site, which tells you who's currently still checked in, and there is the export. In the next video, we'll cover how you can manually log visitors in using the reception mode. But for now, we'll address this one. So if we look at the who's on site, because that's the one that you may want to look at from a smartphone, bearing in mind that everything that you do in MyVisitorLog can be viewed on a PC, smartphone, or tablet. So who's on site will tell me who's currently checked into your premises, their name, their phone number, who they work for, and who they were visiting. If I drill in here, I can also, if need be, if I have sufficient rights, see the answers to their questions. If I have to, I can also check someone out if they forget to check out themselves. So this information is useful, for example, in the case of an emergency where you needed to see who is currently in the building. So if I just quickly drop that down to a smaller mode so you can see what it would look like on a smartphone. So if I was standing outside during a fire evacuation or some other such event, I could simply click on this option here on my phone and I would see who's currently in and how to contact them. So it's useful in that sort of activity, but it's also useful if you're trying to just see who's around the building at the moment and who they're visiting. The second option we've got in here is the full visitor log. So this is where all of the data will sit. So this will include people who still haven't yet checked out, as well as everyone who has checked in and out during the day. Again, this is full history, so it goes all the way back for as long as you want to keep your history for. It's all grouped by date, going backwards in date and time order. If I need to see when someone left, I can see that here. I can again drill in. If I've got sufficient rights, I will be able to see this information here, but I can also see the answers to their questions. So what I can see here, obviously the date, the time in, time out, who the visitor was, who they work for, how to contact them, who they met with, and why. So I've got a full history of what's gone on in my visitor log system that I can view at any time on any device. The final option in this area is the export function. So if I needed to export this data out that we've got captured in here for a particular date range in order to send it to someone else in the organization, such as the health and safety manager or a government agency, for example, in a worst case scenario, then I can come in here and for any date range, I can choose my date range. I can choose from and to. So I do that up until today and I export that. Then it will create an Excel spreadsheet. Now, obviously, you want to be controlling who is able to do this, and this can't be done by anyone who isn't an admin. So if I now open up my Excel spreadsheet, which will take a second because it's just going to load it up, so I can now see the full history of, in date order, everyone who visited, time in, time out, how long they were on site. So if that's important to you, and we have clients where that is important, knowing, so this is minutes on site, the name of the person, their contact details, the answers to the questions that they've given, including their reason for being in the building and who they visited with. So if you needed to, you can very easily come in here, for example, if you wanted only looking for people who visited a particular person, then using Excel, you've got the ability to filter. So I can say, okay, I want to filter this and I'm only interested in people. I don't care about everybody. I just want to see everyone who visited Jean. And I go, okay, so these are the people who visited Jean, and then I might want to break that down by date or by other functionality. I might want to say, okay, I'm also interested in people who visited Jean but had a meeting with her. Then I can see that information, and again, I can come back over here and see how long those meetings lasted for, date, time, in, out, who the visitor was, etc. So really powerful information for reporting, and we've decided at this stage that Excel is the best way to do this. We will be writing some reports, but this is a very quick way where you can go in and check information, search for particular things, whether it be the company, the person, the date, the time, etc. So that's the export function from MyVisitorLog. And so those are the three key areas that you will use on a date. These options below are typically done through setup and then a second stage of the setup if need be, although they will set themselves up, as I said earlier. And then this is the core information. This one is the important one on a day-to-day basis. This one is the important one on a historical basis. And then you have the export. So those are the functions that are in there. They're easy to use and easy to access from any device.